Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast's longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Hello and good evening. You're listening to WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station. I'm your host today, John. I'm here with Mr. Frank and Jamie.
Righto.
Yeah.
Hey.
How are you guys?
Hey. Welcome aboard, one and all.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. You guys doing anything?
Yeah. No.
Green, green.
I got my green.
Green.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some green.
Oh, yeah.
We're going.
Everybody's festooned in green. Yes. Yeah, your green is on your back. You have an image.
You have a belt.
Yes.
I'm not hearing this from you.
Yeah.
At least she has it in plain sight.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Any dishes or anything today?
Any food dishes?
Yeah.
No. Like corned beef and cabbage. That's traditional fare, but no.
I think some events are going on this year too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Full effect.
Mm-hmm. You can hear the music next door to Cedar Point where I live. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think we heard some on the radio just before we went live too.
Probably is always going to be a lot of.
It was bagpipes.
Oh, yeah. You hear a lot of that all day long. You bet.
Okay.
It's all good stuff. Everybody's Irish today.
Everybody.
Yeah. Everybody.
Except those who aren't,
Everybody is. Nobody's not Irish today. Everybody's Irish.
Okay.
That's the rule.
Get into space news or?
We can do that. Let me get the intro prepared.
Okay. So in the meantime.
Right.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Which one would you like to start with? Black holes or James Webb?
Let's do black holes.
Okay. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's some interesting stuff going on in that aspect.
And now, here's John and Jamie with the space report.
Okay, so Mr. Frank, did you hear anything about like the black hole paradox?
Tell me about the black hole paradox.
Okay, so essentially this was brought up by Mr. Stephen Hawking before he died. It was essentially like if you picture, like at least for most people, if you picture a black hole, you picture probably like a 360-degree circle, nothing going
kind of a vortex,
just
right?
a vortex, literally a pitch black vortex. Nothing comes in, nothing goes. Well, everything comes in, nothing goes out.
Right.
And
but
then
I know they had bursts of energy, which is what was making the scientists crazy to go, if nothing comes out, why is energy coming out?
And
so
then,
that was that's the paradox.
And then there are some people like it might go to an alternate dimension and then spill out its contents there, right?
Yes.
So what happened was this was a pretty recent development. So the entire conundrum with it was quantum mechanics and what they thought was going on could not exist. Like whatever goes in has to come out somewhere and it can't just vanish into thin air, right?
Right.
So there's two theories, which the naming sense here is something else. There is the no hair theorem and then there's the yes hair theorem, right? Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
So your theory is either hairy or it's not.
Yeah, essentially. Okay. So my understanding, so my understanding of it was basically whatever goes in kind of it's like a whirlpool and then it splashes out
around the stuff.
So it just
outer
so it just fades out instead of directly going. I'm not sure entirely how it works, but that's
maybe because
how
of
I'm interpreting it.
Spin, maybe because the spin is catapulting it out.
Maybe.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
Catapulting it, like just orbiting it, like where is it going?
I'm not. No, just out.
Just out.
There's like the point of no return ish type thing. Like I'm
the event horizon.
Yes, the event horizon, kind of like that. I'm assuming it's something like that.
Okay.
So it spills it out just in front of the event horizon.
Or I'm not sure. It's something like that is my interpretation.
All right.
Like it wasn't too detailed, the things I've been reading. I'm guessing that's just for sanity's sake.
Yeah, because it's tough to wrap your head around these ideas.
Interesting though.
Very good.
And would you like to cover James Webb or something else?
I think you can do that.
Okay. So there's another development in space. It was the James Webb Telescope.
Yes.
So essentially they did a test star, and I saw an image of it. It was whatever telescope from the past, and it was what they did right now. It literally looks hand drawn like digital art versus the other one, and the other one looks like a blur.
Yeah.
And
We've got a
it's-
caller
oh,
on the
okay.
line.
It's not even fully operational yet either.
Right on our Newsmaker line. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Frank. It's Charlie. Hello,
Hey.
John.
Hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
I think, what do you think about this with the black hole? That could it possibly be like an entrance to another universe,
Yeah, another dimension, another universe.
another dimension,
Mhm.
another, like a whole nother thing? I mean, nobody comes out because maybe they're not
There's-
allowed to come out, or maybe it's just
they're,
so
they're
great.
going somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
That
yeah.
that could be.
Yeah, it could be. Nobody really knows what happens because
Well, we'll send John up there.
It
Maybe.
gets spaghettified is what it was.
that's the problem. So the problem is when you
Yeah, volunteers don't come back.
that's
right.
it. They don't. They get
It's a little dark.
spaghettified. So everybody kind of, your all your atoms get stretched,
Mhm.
to just an incredible point. So yeah, yeah. I mean, your essence of you would still be there, but it's all spaghettified. So it's
No,
Yeah,
Hey,
it's-
maybe it's heaven.
it could be. Could
Yeah.
be.
Interesting,
You
though,
never
'cause, like,
know.
while you're in there, it takes like 60 or
There
70
you
years
go.
for you
Yeah.
to fully fade
All
out.
right. Well, I'll get off for the line and listen to the show. It's terrific. And where's our young lady?
She is
Doing off Broadway or something?
maybe
It's
she could be.
musical practice. I think they're
Oh.
doing a state competition.
They're doing a state competition for her.
Aha.
Yeah. All right. So she's got
Okay. Well,
she's
you
got a
take
good
care.
excuse. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. All right. So we're back.
And we are back.
Mm-hmm.
So, continuing where I left off, we were talking about the James Webb Telescope.
Mm-hmm.
So, it has only been like, I think, like 3 or 4 weeks since we covered it. Like, maybe, no, two.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in that time, it's pretty much gotten everything down to a T. Its mirrors are pretty much all entirely aligned. They're all reflective, I believe now.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
They're all lined up. They did a selfie prior to the
Mhm.
alignment, and you can actually, because they have 18 hexagonal mirrors, and you can actually see little gap lines, right? And then they took another selfie, and now they all have the same brightness as the one mirror had in the first selfie. So in the hexagonal lines, there's no gap in there. It's really a tight fit. So basically, the 18 pieces are now functioning as one.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's just fascinating. Yep.
Any thoughts?
The image.
Okay.
So they took an image. So with the traditional telescope, they took an image of this particular star, which is, this is tough to wrap your head around. This star is 100 times fainter than what the human eye can see.
It's insane.
Okay, so think about that. So we found that with some super advanced telescopes that we used to have before James Webb. This is many light years improved upon that, because not only can you see the star, and the star's got the special star line, the lines, that come off of it. And that is a function of the 18 mirrors, by the way, that give you that star bright, the lines coming off the star impression.
Not visible by Earth, or not visible just at all?
It's really not visible at all for us, but there was a point in the sky that was not interrupted by other things that you could see with natural light.
Mm.
So that's why they said, okay, we can focus on that. It's a good spot for the telescope to see, and it's not going to be disturbed by other things in the sky. So they picked that particular star and they focused on that, and they finally made all those 18 mirrors see just the one spot in the sky.
It's interesting. I was reading a little bit about it, and it was saying it had to get it to the point where it's like less than a hair's length.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing was the agency itself was even warning people, is like, don't take this for like entirety, because this isn't even fully operational
That's
yet.
correct. That's just only one of the many functions they need to perform
Mhm.
to finally get the telescope tuned up, as it were. But yeah, that's crazy to try to wrap your head around. But if you look at the James Webb image, pictures of that, if you look at the background in that image, you'll see what you at first glance you think are other stars, but no, they're not. They're actually galaxies. Which is just whoa, which you don't even know about from our previous images.
Mhm.
And this
Wow.
is just
I was looking at it
right.
a bit
It's
earlier.
just a snapshot, so it's like, good night, Irene. So there is a physicist online called Dr. Becky.
Okay.
And she is amazing. So she put up a video, I think it was yesterday. And she was just like head over heels excited about this first image, because she says for astrophysicists to see this, you know, they knew about, they expected something amazing, but they weren't prepared to be that amazed.
Oh, wow.
It was they're, I mean, think about it. These are astrophysicists, so they pretty much understand what
Should be
what's
appearing.
coming
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
down, and this just took their breath away. It was that far and above what they expected. So, but yeah, so that's amazing. Good
That's-
stuff.
It's crazy because I mean they see stuff all the time that we normally would be like, whoa, but they see this as just
Another day at the office.
exactly.
Yeah.
So them being surprised, I mean, I would kind of be a little nervous. Maybe this is a new technology,
Right.
advancement. It's pretty interesting.
It is. It is. It is
Been
amazing.
like 2-3 decades in the work too, right?
Pardon me?
It was 2 or 3 decades in the work.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And
had a lot of setbacks too, and the entire.
well, setbacks
Yeah.
and improvements. So what happened was
I
is
mean,
they
it
were
was even
developing.
dropped at one point right before launch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, so they kept developing. So the technologies that they developed for this telescope were cutting edge, state of the art, not off the shelf technology. So they had to imagine what they wanted it to do. Then they had to go and develop the technology to make it do what they wanted it to do. So
Oh, so it's just basically scratch paper. It's just like I want this to happen.
how do we do this?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And then they went about to develop the technology so they could make that happen. So, so the whole thing was, it was an incredible exercise in just developing technology.
Yeah,
Number
'cause
one,
they had nothing to
even
go
if the
off
thing
from.
wasn't even a successful launch,
Mhm.
the technological leap that they made in understanding how to make some of this equipment, just the reflective 5-layer solar screen that they developed, how to shape and design that was incredible technology
Yeah,
by itself.
Because they didn't have any basis of like, okay, this worked this time, we should do this.
Right.
They didn't have that.
No.
It's just
Amazing.
insane.
And it's like
also.
SPF 1 million. So it's like it's just nuts. Just absolutely nuts. And they actually had little pinholes that they put in that film because they had to pack it up on Earth with air. So they had to make sure they pushed all the air out because they didn't want to have any air bubbles.
Did not hear about that.
Yeah. There's some amazing videos online that talk about just the work that went into just creating this and the amount of hours they spent just to do measurements so that the machine knows where it is within itself and where it is in space. So it's all the different measurements the machine is constantly taking. It's just, oof. And they had to understand all the measurements on Earth before they could
put it up.
Yeah. They spent years just measuring this thing
And
from like 9 different ways. Yeah.
oh my god, they have to take into account the solar or space just expanding and just all of the measurements. It's insane.
It's a space
incredible.
odyssey.
Yeah.
No.
It's
Ah.
neat stuff. Neat stuff. So one of the things that amazes me while we're on the topic, so I went to the space.com website. You would think there'd be a lot of space news on there. Most of the things they're talking about has to do with Ukraine on space.com. There is a new
Yes.
Maxar technology satellite image of a now destroyed theater in the Ukrainian city of Mariupol. And it shows that the world children written in Russian in front and behind the building. It's written right on the pavement. So that if the Russians are flying over it, they say, okay, there are kids here. Well, that didn't seem to stop them because they actually bombed that theater.
Ruthless.
So that was interesting. And then there's another satellite image from the Maxar satellite showing a Ukrainian city of Sumy, Sumy, and then there's Kharkiv and another one I can't even pronounce, as well as the destruction of several Russian helicopters on the airfield of Kherson. And so, and these satellite images, they say they're satellite images, but they really look like they're taken from a distance of an airliner or a low altitude airliner
Or drone.
Yes, and they look, but they're said to be satellite images. The clarity is stunning, so you can see these what used to be the remnants of what used to be helicopters on the ground, and there is a lot of Stinger missiles, I guess, that there's a new Switchblade.
I saw that.
Have you heard about that? It's called Switchblade.
I didn't click on it. Could you explain?
Okay, Switchblade is a drone, and it's actually shot out of a tube, and then the wings come out like a switchblade. So, and it is a lot. It will hover. It'll loiter in a spot for about 40 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
And so not only does it have cameras, but it communicates with the ground station. And so if they see a target, they could maybe start sending the drone towards the target. But they also have the ability to have it wave off that target if they see that that target isn't the target they thought it was. So it maximizes the use of that drone so that it used to be that if you set a drone on a target, that was game over, and once you made that command, you better be right.
Yeah.
So now, and so, that is pretty fascinating.
There's also something about, it was a European collaboration with like the EU, Russia, and essentially all of Europe. And it was supposed to make a rover that was also supposed to go to Mars, and that was also delayed. And I believe in the last like 24-ish hours, there was an astronaut on the ISS, and then there was like a high debate about him actually being able to come down.
Right.
And then Russia finally came around and was like, yes, we'll help get him down and whatnot.
Right. He was and actually, to be fair, we paid for the ride for him to come back already. That was the deal, right? So and it paid a fair amount of money. So they said, yeah, we'll but the guy is going to land in Russia. Good luck with getting his butt home. So yeah, I don't know. I think if I was him, I'd say, yeah, I'm waiting for the next ride. Thanks. It's been real. I'll hang here. Yeah. No, I don't think so. But that's just me.
Okay.
I heard Elon Musk is getting prepared to launch the first, not launch, but like put out the first, not the first, but a self-driving vehicle by the end of 2022.
Okay.
No, just a new,
Well, I guess
like
I saw a very
so his software is
sticker.
kind of like beta version right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been holding it back.
Are we talking about the one on Tesla?
Yes.
I saw a very amusing sticker, but I also found it a bit morbid.
Okay.
So we were driving on the road, right? There's a Tesla in front of us. And the sticker read, "If you see this, I'm probably not driving." And I'm like, oh my God.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
So so you can sign up to be part of the
Mhm.
beta test. And so you think about, I don't know how many millions of cars there are on the road right now that are Teslas, but it's quite a few.
Mhm.
Every mile those cars drive feeds information into their mother computer. So it's a self-learning system. So
Interesting.
everything the car sees, all the cars see, they collectively understand now things that they didn't know before. So
Mhm.
it's a self-learning program.
Yep.
So what happens with that is that it actually learns exponentially, and that's why they feel they can
It's ready.
roll it. Yes.
Yeah. Also, in many circumstances, self-driving vehicles are much safer than just human use.
Right. There's no
And-
human error.
Yeah, exactly. You just computerize and they learn so quickly. It's bound to be successful. I believe.
There is a video that I saw online, which was hilarious. So somebody had a dash cam, and in front of them was a Tesla. The Tesla was driving through an intersection, and there was a car that blew the intersection, would have T-boned this Tesla. Tesla somehow was aware of it. It was probably on whatever it was doing.
Autopilot, right?
Autopilot, right? And there's a maneuver called the moose maneuver, I think it's called. And it's, if you're driving along a country road and a moose jumps out in front of you, you dance out, you jump out of the way, right, with your car. So that's essentially what this maneuver is. So this car sped up, did like a figure S, and the car that should have T-boned it missed it.
Wow.
Interesting.
That was a fun
That-
video to say, wow, how the technology really can save your bacon.
And
Yeah.
there was a person in that car.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Right. That was a worthwhile video. It's probably out there. You just got to Google Tesla. What is it? The moose maneuver. And it should
I've
come
never
up.
heard of that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I saw it.
Oh my God.
Granted, we don't
that's-
live in Canada, but
Right. Lucky thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
The moose generally in a car versus moose, generally the moose will fare better than the car.
It'll just stop and you'll just.
Yeah.
The moose will be fine. He's like, yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, they can
Another
stand
day.
over cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're really big.
Yeah.
That's so big.
Okay. Do you want to talk about daylight savings, or did you hear about that?
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
so
Yeah.
it was Mr. Marco Rubio. It's like the 4th year or ongoing year that he was pushing for it.
Right. So this is a
And-
federal,
yeah.
because we already passed it
Mhm.
statewide, in a statewide referendum, I think 4 years ago or
Mhm.
something like that.
And it was essentially trying to get rid of daylight savings.
Mhm.
That way we wouldn't have to go back an hour for an
Right.
hour and whatnot.
Right.
And he was essentially like, every couple months we just go into this sort of like another, just like a time zone change and whatnot. And he's like, we should just be gone with it and have one set time. That way there isn't this global,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it's fun. Any thoughts?
Well, I think, this all goes back to
Yeah.
Ben Franklin. I don't know if you guys know this or
Yeah.
not, but it was actually a gentleman's bet at a poker table.
Of course.
And the bet
As
was
everything
that
is.
we could that I bet I can make a bunch of people change their social practice. Their activities.
Just cuz?
Time change. You get everybody to change. It's just one thing that you can do to get everybody to change. So that was a poker bet.
I thought it was to do with farmers getting up in the morning.
Well, that's how they sold it. But but that's how they
Okay.
sold it. But that wasn't. It was actually originated as a poker bet.
He just openly talked about this.
Well, it's
Okay.
how people will at the pub would regale their friends with various stories. So that's the story that actually has come out about.
I just love how that just passed on generationally.
Well, but it's the backstory. For me, the stories are interesting, but the backstories I always find are more interesting than the actual story.
I would agree.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's definitely true.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
And I believe it was you, Mr. Frank, who sent it to me. It was NASA was developing like an asteroid warning system.
Yeah, really.
Was
warning
this
system.
supposed to go hand in hand with their like
We've been
their rocket system
well,
thing?
no. So we've been the last few weeks. We've had some near Earth, rock, big boulders come flying,
Yeah. Okay.
flying
Activity.
by, little flybys.
Mhm.
One of them was just the other day was the size of one of them was the size of a bus.
Okay, it's not too big.
Not too big. One of them just crashed the other day. But the backstory to that was it was the first time that NASA actually saw it. It was very small.
Hmm.
They saw it coming, and they had a pretty good idea where it was going to enter the Earth, and it landed somewhere. It came in the atmosphere around Norway.
Okay.
And they pretty much, and they knew where it would come by the time it was terminal in its approach. They pretty much knew, and they guessed it pretty close.
Okay.
And so this is the first time that their system that they have for these near Earth asteroids or detecting ones that they didn't even know were there. They actually were able to follow it all the way to Earth, and it just burned up.
No,
It
it's
was too
crazy though,
small.
because I just looked on it a little bit. It said it's 6.5 feet wide, and
Yeah.
just like compared that to like the size of the Earth, that's negligible.
Right. And what a lot of people don't realize, we get 2 tons of dust that we collect every day from space.
Really?
Just stuff that
Just-
falls, small stuff that just burns up and ends up being dust. And it just,
Oh.
so that's why I don't feel bad when we leave, a couple of pounds worth of stuff on the moon or on Mars. It's
right.
okay because we got more stuff coming.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's no big deal.
Interesting.
so-
Interesting.
Yeah.
So just like burns up, just turns into nothing.
Yeah. Well,
Could we-
it turns into something
Or
dust.
yeah. Could we trace it?
Some of the dust, if you have machines in the upper atmosphere, stuff that you can catch, yeah, you probably could.
Because
You probably have to have balloons,
yeah.
set up to
Mm.
catch stuff. But yeah, you probably, and I would bet you, my dad used to tell me this. He would say, Frank, if you thought about it, somebody else already has.
Yeah.
So my guess is if I'm thinking about it, somebody in the government's already done this, but they probably have developed a way to collect
Yeah, because
space dust.
all of that stuff is probably mostly foreign
Mhm.
and we don't know about, so that could like reveal some stuff about space or
Well, everything, you're exactly right. Everything has its own signature.
Mhm.
For example, we have rocks here on Earth that we know came from Mars.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Mhm.
And we know there are rocks on the moon that we know came from Earth.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and that's because of big rocks hitting the Earth,
Mhm.
spraying all these rocks up into space, and then they would maybe end up on Mars or end up on the moon or different places.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Ooh. I was
Yeah.
actually watching a video about how there's so only just gravity makes up 5% of the entire basically like gravity in the universe and the solar system and stuff. So gravity alone is not strong enough to keep solar systems together, like in basically just be a singular solar system.
So that's why they developed that dark energy.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And that is approximately, I think, either 60 or 70% of all basically matter in the universe.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I just find that fascinating because
Yeah.
it just
well,
proves that
right,
there's something else.
Right. The universe that we see is only a small fraction of what's out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we can't see it.
Right.
We can detect it though, because it shoots off light. I'm pretty sure it gives off light.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I think there was some sort of mathematical
learning.
formula. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right.
We heading to break?
We probably should.
Okay, then we'll see everybody on the flip side after these commercials. No.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
20 seconds.
Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU.
And we're back. It's great to be back. It was a nice little break. So, just to clarify, I'm pretty sure that dark matter does not shoot out light, because then it would be very easy to trace and probably too much of it. Like, so yeah. So it was probably just giving
dark
off
energy.
Yep, dark energy. That's it.
Okay.
All right, John.
All right.
And we have a caller on the line. Go ahead. You're on our Newsmaker line. Go ahead.
Hey guys, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Hey,
Happy St. Pat's.
Yeah.
May the Irish be with you. May the force.
I'm changing your name now again to the Elon Musketeers.
Oh my. Okay.
Hey there, ho there, hi there. Yes.
I thought yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. I thought it was weird that nobody was wearing green at the bar except the sheriff that pulled me over on the way home.
Wow.
I just woke up a little bit ago.
Oh, very good. Well, welcome to the land of the living.
Yeah, I like the comments. The black hole.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should change it from DC to DH, where everything goes in and a little bit comes back, if anything.
Okay.
So we'll call it Washington DH from now on.
Okay.
So what do we got going on this week? Let's say Russia's now asking China and North Korea for some help with Ukraine.
Oh, I think Iran too.
Oh, well, that's part of that too.
Yeah.
That's the whole plan right
that's
there.
part of that whole cabal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think China's going to get involved. If they do, North Korea and China get involved, I think, we're going to have to do something about that. We're going to have to send over like two of their fans, Dennis Rodman and LeBron James, and we're going to tell them, hey, you do this, you join with Russia, we're cutting off Nikes from the NBA. They're going to be wearing Payless sneakers. That's it. I mean, we're not going to do that anymore. But and now we're talking about cyber warfare from Russia.
Right. So and that's funny you should mention that, because there was an article that I was reading, and I don't know if it was on Fox News or if it was on because I was getting so much information off of that. But yeah, anyway, so go ahead with your thought.
No, but I was thinking, if they're going to pull cyber warfare, we can retaliate. Probably not as good as them, but we can flood their TV over there with 24 hours of lawyer commercials and Medicare Part B.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting so sick of that. I used to like Joe Namath and Jimmy J.J. Walker with the Medicare. Now they're just driving me crazy. You got all these, but all our lawyer commercials too. I mean, have you seen these commercials? They just don't stop.
Yeah.
The same ones. Ever see the one? There's these three teenage girls that are like 17 years old. They're walking down the street and they're talking. And one girl says, "My lawyer says, when I call my lawyer, nobody answers." And the other one says, "Me too. It's, you ought to call my lawyer." The third one says, I'm like, "What? You guys are like 17 years old. We don't be calling your parents. They ought to be calling a good driving school for your, I mean, I want to know where you, at least let us know where you're at so I can keep my stellar record going. I mean, it's just getting crazy.
So anyways, this is the article that I was referring to, and it is on the space.com website. And apparently there's a Russian satellite that was Russia said was just a satellite, a information passing satellite, just a passive satellite. But apparently the Russian satellite that launched to Earth orbit last October is behaving oddly, raising the possibility that the craft be some sort of space weapon. Isn't that special?
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Which-
the Hubble almost turned out that way,
Mhm.
but they fixed it.
Yeah. Right.
No, it's just
Right.
it's just getting crazy lately, guys. I don't know what's going on lately. Every day it's like I'm watching this stuff with Putin, and it's just to me, I feel like I'm watching something like we were talking about weeks ago.
Mhm.
Like we're going back to World War II.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. There's some of these some of these issues have not been resolved since World War II, and they're just rearing their ugly head again. So this is essentially what's happened.
Well, I'm sure China's going to help Russia in one way. I'm sure they're going to send us a new strain of COVID, so the midterm elections are mail-in ballots again, and they can keep the clueless Democrats in office after the midterm elections till 2024.
All righty.
No, it's crazy days, and I hope everybody's doing well. And I'll leave it at that, guys. Great to talk to you.
Thanks, Bob.
John, Jamie, and the oldest high school guy there.
Yeah, talk about a senior.
Oh my.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate
Thanks,
the call.
guys.
All right, bye-bye. So there we go. There you go. We are back. And we're just back in time to go to our regulation timeout.
And we'll be back, I guess.
So yeah, stay tuned. We got much more to cover when we return. So stay tuned. There'll be a test at the end of the show.
And we are back. Hello. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Pretty good.
Okay,
You guys
so
doing
just
good?
to finish
Great.
up this thought on this Russian satellite.
Mhm.
Russia has described the satellite in a question and space apparatus inspector. Assistant Secretary of Arms Control, Verification, and Compliance at the U.S. State Department said at a conference on disarmament in Geneva yesterday. This was dated August 14th. But its behavior on orbit was inconsistent with anything seen before from an on-orbit inspection or space situational awareness capabilities, including other Russian inspection satellite activities. Excuse me. We are concerned with what appears to be a very abnormal behavior by a declared space apparatus inspector. So interesting stuff. What does that mean? What does that
Not even
mean?
sure.
So yeah, I mean the worry is that what these Russian satellites can do is kind of saddle up to perhaps a U.S. satellite that it doesn't like, and just detonate.
Just destroy it.
Yes, wouldn't that be special? Then we'd have thousands of parts. We talked about this last week. You guys missed that show, but actually, I played a clip from last year. Where there was a Russian satellite that blew up in space deliberately. And the astronauts had to go into protective aboard the space station.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They had to go into protective mode and go into the crew capsules
And it threw it off course by a couple of degrees,
they
which
had
was
they had
pretty
to
major.
they had to change the course of the ISS just to avoid any space debris.
Yeah.
So, and there's just and it was deliberate. So the whole world condemned Russia for doing it, and then they forgot about it. It was just another news cycle.
I did not know it was deliberate. I thought it was an
It was
accident.
no, it was deliberate.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And so it's, I think Putin has a way of kind of telegraphing. It's like, here's a fun thing I can do.
Oh yeah.
Just for you to think about, and poof, suddenly something's blowing up in space. So, and then of course it was we had the pipeline that was hacked by Russian actors last year. The continent, I think, the Colonial Pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That was last year. Again, there just was a news cycle. You know, price of fuel spiked. There were some people couldn't get gas because of the pipeline
There's also
hacking.
problems
It seems like
with
there's
that.
a recurring cycle here.
You see kind of a
pattern.
Yeah, there is a pattern, and
Some of them got
this
hacked
is
as well as
right. So the whole idea is that Putin was kind of telegraphing, here's some fun things that I can do to really mess you up. Do you really want to mess with me?
Yeah, showing his grounds, showing his power.
Yeah, flexing his muscles.
Exactly.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
that's a good analogy.
So that's kind of the way I read it, and that's why I played some sound bites last week. If you missed it, you can go to last week's show on YouTube and like us,
WSTU1450.com,
and you can go to
Treasure Coast Forum.
Treasure Coast Forum. You go to YouTube, do WSTU 1450 Treasure Coast Forum, and then just put in any Thursday date you would like, and that show will come up. And then you can learn some of the things that you may have missed if you were busy doing something else. But we call this appointment radio, so we expect you to be here. There'll be a test later, so
Stay
absolutely.
tuned.
Stay tuned. That's right.
There was an interesting thing I was reading about.
Okay.
It was in Wales. So essentially, the Welsh government put a lot of funding into developing essentially robotic arms to help with cancer processes. So it has an instrument attached to like the end of the robotic arm. It can zoom in and whatnot. So they actually get a clear picture of what it is, things that might be hard for a human eye to see and whatnot. And then essentially there would be a human operator controlling the arms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's the first I've seen of it.
Hmm.
It is.
Um,
Interesting. There is also some news about this was lot of development, I believe. 2-ish years ago, there was a major development on the surf scene, which was essentially artificial waves becoming reality. I believe it was mainly in Houston and California, because that's where a majority of the concentration is. And then they developed how do I format this in words? So essentially they made their own generators that would generate essentially perfect waves, so they could train future surfers. The only problem with that is if you get accustomed to that, you can no longer ride like normal waves, because then there's a lot of variables.
Interesting.
Interesting.
John sent me a video, I think either last week or 2 weeks ago, that basically just describing how robots and how people are making them so advanced. One day, I think I'm going to believe this. I think so, that robots are going to become so advanced, and they're going to just learn from humans, and just programs and stuff like that are going to be installed, and they will become smart. They'll become extremely smart,
Mhm.
and they will, I don't know, take over someday.
Well,
Would
maybe.
you mind?
Hmm?
Would you mind?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I'd like to be in charge of my own destiny.
Okay, if it's past your generation, would you mind?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking because you would no longer exist.
Right.
You know?
But then what about people that are coming after me? I think they should have that opportunity to make their own decisions, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, why not just have them both, humans and non?
Good, that's fine. But I'm just saying the humans should be the apex
Predator.
creature.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use the word predator, but I use
Yeah.
the word creature.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. But robots have done like a lot of amazing things with
They
robotic
can.
arms,
Mhm.
especially with robotic arms, and just limbs,
Mhm.
especially for people who went in the military, and just people who really deserve to have a full mobility, full life, and just carry out life.
Absolutely. There's no.
Yeah.
I have nothing against that.
Okay,
I still want them to be the big decision maker. That's all.
Why?
Because again, they're programmed by people. People should be able to be the ultimate decision maker.
Okay, why?
Because
I'll put it this way: if there was an alternate race of human on Earth, or something that rapidly evolved and it opposed human nature and whatever, would you, just natural selection? You get what I'm getting at?
yeah.
Thoughts?
So what are your thoughts?
I don't know.
This doesn't-
I'm posing the question.
Yeah.
I'm-
That's what I'm
You're
cur-
answering the
Yes,
question.
but you must have already postulated an answer.
No, this is just on the fly.
It's just on the fly. Yeah. No, I
Haven't
still
heard that in a while.
people should still be in charge.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's human nature, though.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, do you think it's like hereditary, or what? What do you think? Not hereditary, just like human nature, just in general, because of that, or what?
Well, because so if you give a decision making, you're talking about giving up decision making skills
Oh,
to
no.
a third party.
No,
Basically.
it's just like superiority, I guess. I don't know, something along the lines of that.
So yeah, no, I think we still should be the decision makers in our future, because machine might know what's better for us, but maybe we don't want what's better for us. Maybe we just want what. For example, maybe eating ice cream tonight may not be your best choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Mom will say, yeah, tonight you don't want ice cream. We're not giving you ice cream, but I want it. You know what you want,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. And it could unravel harsh truths, I guess.
Yeah.
For people who really know what we need,
Mhm.
kind of.
Well, and it's good to have
A robot.
It's good to have them maybe making suggestions. This
Yeah.
be a good suggestion for your health, but ultimately, whatever the decision is, it should ultimately be your own. Not an
Okay.
outside third party. You shouldn't give up the right to make your own free decisions.
Okay,
That's true.
if you say so.
I do.
Okay.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, we have 2-ish minutes left. Anything
Mhm.
else anybody would like to talk about?
Uh,
Neuralink or
No.
anything?
there hasn't
Okay.
really been new news about Neuralink. Just
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Nothing new, except for Elon Musk did say that he was going to put more of his energy into building his robots, which is on topic.
That was
as-
interesting.
as
He-
opposed
yeah.
to making the Cybertruck. Cybertruck was supposed to come out.
That was
Yeah.
interesting. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Its first unveiling.
Yeah.
Is
Oh, yeah.
No, that was amusing because he threw the ball at the car and he's like, "This will bounce right off." It cracked.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Did you see that?
No, I
Yes.
didn't see that.
It was an interesting event.
Everybody remembers
look at
that.
Mhm.
People always, but you know, the thing is, you remember, and you know, it was Cybertruck, and you know, it was Tesla.
No, I watched the presentation and then it was an entire meme on Twitter where he just throws it and it cracks.
Right.
No.
Right. I know it.
That's hilarious.
But the
Yeah.
backstory is they threw it about several hundred times backstage before it went on
You can
stage.
do all you want,
And
but
they-
if it cracks on stage,
Right.
Yeah,
No, but
exactly.
it's everything breaks,
that's
But-
true.
you know, but the whole idea is for it to break less.
Yeah.
All right.
Next
So see you
week.
here next week. That'll be the breaks. We'll be back.